gamers, comic book lovers, and techies. I'm Taylor Kilgore, and welcome to Nerdcore Unlimited. On today's show, we have an interview with a world record holder, our E3 Top 5, a comic book review, a chat on the surreal side, a cell phone breakdown, a discussion with a pretentious nerd, and finally, some rumors. E3 has come and gone, but a lot of amazing games were announced and showcased, such as Uncharted 4, Destiny, Battlefield Hardline, Assassin's Creed Unity, Sunset Overdrive, and The Legend of Zelda on Wii U. Now, some of these have definite release dates, which we as gamers tend to hate because they always get delayed and pushed back until the next year. Some of which stuff has happened to is Batman Arkham Knight and The Evil Within. Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's character Doctor Strange is soon to hit the big screen. It's been reported that Marvel hired Scott Derrickson, best known for the film Sinister, to bring their film to life. A brand new Dragon Ball Z is going to be released for the first time in 17 years. Funimation publicized that Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods is going to have limited release dates on August 5th, 6th, 7th, and 9th in the US and Canada. This is an opportunity that you don't want to miss. And now for an interview with Jenny.
Hi, I'm Jenny from Nerdcore Unlimited. So we're all basically familiar with the Rubik's Cube. And just in case you've never personally played with one, you've probably seen them in TVs, movies, or at least had a friend who has had one. But just in case you're completely clueless as to what they are, basically they're these tiny toy puzzles that are in the shape of a cube. And they're pretty dang hard to solve. Very few people have solved them, and for good reason. They are pretty tricky. But there are the few who have solved them. There are even fewer who compete professionally at them. Today we're going to be talking to Felix Zemdiegs, who competes professionally at solving Rubik's Cubes, who has times ranging from 7 to 8 seconds to solve them. Hi, Felix.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. How are you feeling?
Very, very good, thanks.
Okay, well, I'd just like to start off the interview by saying thank you so much for doing this. This is awesome.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Okay, so your last name real quick. So it's Zemdiegs, correct?
Zemdiegs.
Zemdiegs. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to ask because
just how it looks, yeah.
Yeah. Because I have a very similar problem with my last name. It's Yokobori, and I get all kinds of weird variations, so I had to ask, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and so since you have like a more of a complicated last name, does that ever come up as a problem during competitions? Like they'll call like Felix like zebras, Felix.
No, that doesn't really happen. They just say Felix, just come up.
Felix, oh, okay, Felix.
Yeah.
Okay, and so how did you start with the Rubik's Cube? Because this is not really like a normal like run-of-the-day hobby. Like it's really, really like awesome and it's like really impressive. But like you don't come across like many people who do this like competitively. So how exactly did this start?
This started when I was 12, and I saw on YouTube like there was some YouTube awards for 2007 or something like that, and the best instructional video was how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And so I'd always been curious. I'd played with one before. I'd been curious, how could anyone do that? So then, I looked at the tutorial, bought a cube, and solved it along with that, and then it just progressed from there. Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. And so was there sort of like a learning curve, like when you first started out, you're like, this is impossible, I can't possibly do this? Or is it just sort of like from the get-go, like really just easy for you?
Solving it with the tutorial the first time took about 1 to 2 hours.
Okay.
And then, gradual progression, yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm looking at, like, I have a cube right here, and this is insane to me. Like, I have been working on this for a while, and I can't even look at this thing.
Yeah. Well, the way, I've noticed, gradually, the way I look at it sort of changes. Like, when I didn't know how to solve it or anything, I'd just do sort of random moves and try to match colors up and stuff like that. But the way I look at it now is completely different, yeah.
Yeah. And so, okay, I actually want to talk to you about that, because from what I've gathered online is that there's a lot of algorithms, like things that help you solve them that way. And do you go by that method, or is there just like certain turns and things like that?
There's a lot of sort of algorithms involved with solving it. So essentially how I do it is, there's 3 layers on a cube.
Yeah.
And I pretty much solve the first 2 layers by building blocks and doing it intuitively. And then for the last layer, I have to use 2 algorithms.
Okay, so with the algorithms, like, has that helped you a lot in school? Because I know you're in college now.
Yeah.
And so like, are you just, like, way ahead of everyone else? Like, in math class, like, the teacher will ask a question and everyone will just be stumped and you'll be like, I got this. I know this.
Oh, no. It's I don't think they relate too much, maths and the cube in terms of solving it. Obviously, there's some sort of maths behind the cube and stuff like that, but you don't need to be good at maths to solve the cube or anything, no.
And so, since you started solving these cubes, has this, like, helped you a lot? Like, has this become a skill that you can apply in everyday life that has sort of helped you with a few things that you wouldn't expect it to? Like, are you suddenly better at, like, mowing the lawn because you're good at solving the Rubik's Cube, or, like, you're excellent at Sudoku?
No, not really that much. It's a pretty unique thing. Maybe some things like, pattern recognition and spatial recognition, stuff like that, but aside from that, there's nothing too specific that it can be, applied to other things, yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what it's like to be inside of a Rubik's Cube competition. Like, what's the atmosphere there?
It's generally, really friendly. It's a really good sort of community. It's, at a standard competition, where I live in Melbourne, there'd be maybe 50, 60 competitors, and, a lot of them are younger kids there, with their parents and stuff like that. And they're all just having fun, competing, and when they're not competing, they're all just talking to each other, playing with cubes together, so yeah, it's really nice, yeah.
And so, have you traveled at all because of the Rubik's Cube Championships, or, like, any of the competitions?
Yeah, so I've been to New Zealand twice, Thailand twice, and last year to Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, that's where I am.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yep, it's very hot.
yes, it was, yeah.
Okay, so out of those, like, few countries that you traveled in, what would you say is the coolest place that you've been?
It's good. I think Vegas.
Vegas? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool there. Yeah. Thailand is also really cool. They're both really hot.
Yeah, they're both very hot.
Yeah.
I can't speak personally for experience with Thailand, but I know Nevada is really, really hot.
Yeah. So there's a lot of indoor stuff.
Okay, so on a lot of other sports that you see, like in baseball or football or even like wrestling, when there's two like head honchos in the competition, you'll often see the like butting heads and like they'll be like trash talking beforehand. And I know that there's one of the other person that kept coming across when I was researching this was Matt Galt from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And so is there like a rivalry there? Like do you guys like do like trash talking sessions beforehand where you're like, there's no way you got this?
E3 announced tons of exciting new games that'll be coming out over the next few years. Here at Nerdcore, we are very excited to announce our personal top 5. Assassin's Creed Unity takes place during the French Revolution, where you, Arnaud Dorian, slice and parkour your way through the landscape. There's also a brand new co-op feature, which allows you and up to 3 other players to work together to take down the Templars.
Everybody wants to the world.
Sunset Overdrive is a new Xbox exclusive by Insomniac Games, interestingly enough, challenging Insomniac's long-running relationship with Sony. This third-person shooter seems to be the epitome of sarcastic fun, complete with an arsenal of cartoonish weapons to demolish a zombie menace.
Suspects are moving with the package. Take him down.
Battlefield Hardline is a big change in the Battlefield series. It features a cops and robbers twist on gameplay and boasts literally tons of new vehicles. All in all, it looks like a solid addition to the Battlefield franchise, and its beta testing has already been open to the public. The new Legend of Zelda challenges conventional gameplay seen in its predecessors, and features a new open world and brand new approaches to puzzles and exploration. The monsters are epic, the landscape is intense, and I know that I, for one, am very excited to play it. Presented in a 2.40 to 1 theatrical aspect ratio and taking place in an alternate history London, The Order 1886 follows an order of knights fighting to protect the world from half-breed monsters, which include lichens.
I can smell you.
All of the games from E3 captured our attention, but these were the ones that just stood out the most. Other games featured included Star Fox, Grim Fandango, No Man's Sky, Bloodborne, Little Big Planet 3, Splatoon, and The Division. And now, a word from our sponsors and friends over at the Las Vegas-based Avatar Comics and Games.
What draws you as a fan of comic books to the genre of comics that you choose to read? Does it lay within the artistry flowing from the fingertips of the sculptor, the visual creator of the storyline? Is it the intricately woven tale of the quintessential battle of good versus evil and all the individuals that are intimately close to the protagonist and therefore in near constant danger, along with all the other delicately detailed characters dotted throughout that breathe life into a story? Or maybe for you it's a setting, fantastical otherworldly vistas similar to our own and times even existing eerily parallel to our own, with of course that one minor exception, the superhero. But before I actually get into reviewing this month's comic book, I would like to actually read you the email that was sent to me. My name is Guy Hassan. I'm the CEO of New Worlds Comics. New Worlds Comics is a new, independent, digital-only comic book publisher that puts the emphasis on the best original stories drawn by the best artists. New Worlds Comics is digital only. One of our first two titles is Winter. In the 2 months since we've launched, we've garnered some amazing reviews. The surprise fiction hit of the year, writes Geeks with Wives. If you call yourself a science fiction fan, this shouldn't be required, but necessary for you to exist, chimes rhymes with geek. Sci-fi extravaganza, Fortress of Solitude. Now, I've attached copies of issues 1 and 2, which are already available in our digital store. Please let me know if there's anything you need. Sincerely, Guy Hassan. Personally, I enjoy any comics that are mainly ones that are graphic depictions of novels that I read, but really I can get into any comic series where it seems that the story creator and the visual artist are conjoined into one creative mind in the conceptualization process. Those are the comics that actually grab me, and I think that's exactly what we have here in this month's review of Winter. From the beginning, I was already impressed simply based on the style of artwork known as digital painting. Aaron Alekish is the imaginatively skillful artist whom uses digital painting to breathe visual life into Guy Hassan's story. Now, I will say that the first issue was slow starting, but that's also to be expected when you're trying to set up story, character, as well as establish the world that they live in. It does pick up toward the end of issue 1 and doesn't stop gaining traction all the way into issue 2. This comic book series has serious potential, and the artwork should be enough to engage any fan of sci-fi. In issue number 1, we learn that this is a future in which individuality is wiped out and is governed by an imposing galactic government that discourages individualism and uses the culture's technology along with genetic profiling to root out and destroy rebellious individuals as well as their sympathizers. And Liz ends up right in the middle of it. This is a story about Liz Winter, and she's not special at all. When Liz attempts to feel special, a voice in her head tells her 5.4 billion plus had the same feeling in the last 4 seconds. Would you like to know who they are? How can anyone feel special when everything's been thought of before, been done before, been felt before? How can anyone feel special when there are so many people in the galaxy that every day there are 3 more born with your DNA? Like most teenagers, Liz longs to be an individual, to break out of the pattern, to be unpredictable. But when thousands of copies of Liz have already had the same exact thought, it's all that much harder. And her inner voice, much like Siri, makes sure she knows it constantly. But there's something more sinister in these first 2 issues. Liz and her friend Shane, whom incidentally has a massive crush on Liz, discover a new app in their headwear, which is kind of like a Google Glass-like apparatus that allows them to steal other apps from passerby. The Snatch apps do various rather harmless things, from offering a look at nearby citizens without clothing using stock footage and some assumptions filled in by the computer, to more important apps such as the McGovern Subversive app, which allows Liz and Shane to view all anti-government individuals in the galaxy and view simulations of their movements. In issue number 2, Hassan continues to flesh out his story by taking the time to detail out Shane's timeline. Now, I could give away what happens to her, but I hate it when people spoil a good story, so I'm not going to do that to you. More important than what happens to Shane is the introduction of Agent Alex Grace, the tool of the controlling powers within the galactic government, whom acts as a silent assassin against the subversive elements throughout the galaxy. Guy does not gloss over this fact, and the introduction of Grace is well thought out and definitely intriguing. Also kind of giving us readers a look behind the scenes to see who's pulling the strings against our Liz, our lovely protagonist. Letting you know exactly the no bullshit approach that we're going to be seeing from this series. The story progresses from the moment of her arrest at the end of issue 1 and ends with the barrel of Agent Alex Grace's weapon pointed down at Liz. Issue 3 simply cannot come out fast enough. Hurry up. If you're looking for stories with a female character in a more prominent role, then look no further than Winter. There's only currently 2 issues out, with number 3 to be out very soon. Liz will undoubtedly develop into an extremely strong female lead character who is definitely special and is definitely going to change the world. How remains to be seen. Now, any comic that has a woman as a lead is always welcome in the comic world, and it does us all good to see the portrayal of strong female lead characters, no matter the format or the genre. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give this one a 9.5. That's because I have to wait for number 3. So basically what I'm saying is, ride or die. I'll ride with Winter all winter long. You've been with Malachi. This is Nerdcore Unlimited.